Magatars. This is your king. This is the guy that's going to lead y'all against the establishment, against the woke media, against the woke liberal culture. This guy, he can't even handle a simple interview and flaked out. Take a look at this. This is your king?
Here, South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds, as I think you know, was on ABC over the weekend. He spoke about the 2020 election and also referred to the election campaign that is now starting in 2022. Let's listen.
We simply did not win the election as Republicans for the presidency. And if we simply look back and tell our people don't vote because, there's cheating going on.
That's why they lost Georgia, by the way, because folks like Linwood and Trump told y'all vote is meaningless and y'all gave 2 Senate seats to Democrats. That's what happened. Instead of all these conspiracies about voting rigging and like Dominion and all that Q nonsense. But let's go ahead.
Then we're going to put ourselves in a huge disadvantage.
A couple of things to ask about there, Mr. President. Let's start with the politics. Is it a disadvantage for Republicans to keep talking about the 2020 election in 2022?
No, I think it's an advantage because otherwise they're going to do it again in 22 and 24. And Rounds is wrong on that, totally wrong.
If you
look at the numbers, if you look at the findings in Arizona, if you look at what's going on in Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, by the way, and take a look at Wisconsin, they're finding things that nobody thought possible. This was a corrupt election.
I just have to point out Doug Logan, to name one of the states that you just named. Doug Logan, who ran the audit in Arizona that was set up by your allies, didn't find serious problems. This is a quote: "The ballots that were provided to us to count in the Coliseum very accurately correlate with the official canvass numbers." He raised a bunch of administrative issues, but didn't find a problem that would have changed the result at all.
The ballots may correspond, but look at the ballots themselves. The number of ballots doesn't mean anything. It's who signed the ballot.
Oh, they got Trump moving the goalposts.
What you really have to do in that report is look at the findings. And the findings are devastating for Arizona. They're devastating like nobody's seen before.
He's still stuck in a 2020 election.
Why did Republican officials in Arizona accept the results then?
Because they're rhinos. And they fought very hard. The Maricopa.
Because they're rhinos. Oh, man.
Because all you have to do is look at the findings. And just so you know, some of those people went before Congress a short while ago, and they were grilled by...
Let me know in the comments if you take Trump's side on this. I want to hear from y'all.
They weren't able to answer anything. He made them look like fools. They couldn't answer a thing. They got up and gave a beautiful statement, and then when it came time to ask why this...
look at his face.
They look like total fools.
Let me read you some short quotes. The first is by one of the judges,
one
of the 10 judges you appointed who ruled on this, and there were many judges, but 10 who you appointed.
I just gotta make a point about the NPR voice, man. Like, Steve Inskeep totally got that calm, that toned down NPR. I mean, if you listen to like NPR radio compared to like right wing radio or Fox News, his voice is a lot more calmer and toned down. Than NPR voice. Go ahead.
Ludwig, U.S. District Court in Wisconsin, who was nominated by you in 2020. He's on the bench, and he says, quote, "This court allowed the plaintiff the chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merits." Another quote, Corey Langhofer, your own campaign attorney in Arizona, November 12, 2020, quote, "We are not alleging fraud in this lawsuit. We are not alleging anyone stealing the election." And also Rudy Giuliani, your lawyer, November 18, 2020 in Pennsylvania, quote, "This is not a fraud case. Your own lawyers had no evidence of fraud. They said in court they had no evidence of fraud, and the judges ruled against you every time on the merits."
It was too early to ask for fraud and to talk about fraud. Rudy said that because of the fact it was very early, because that was obviously at a that was a long time ago. The things that have found out have more than bore out what people thought and what people felt and what people found. When you look at Lancaster, I disagree with him as an attorney. I did not think he was a good attorney to hire. I don't know what his game is.
Oh, man, look at that. He's creating grievance.
You look at the number of votes. Go into Detroit and just ask yourself, is it true that there are more votes than there are voters? Look at Pennsylvania. Look at Philadelphia. Is it true that there were far more votes than there were voters?
It is not true that there were far...
That's a pretty tough thing. That's a pretty tough problem.
It is not true that that there were far more votes than voters. There was an early count. I've noticed you've talked about this in rallies, and you've said reportedly this is true. I think even you know that was an early report that was corrected later.
Well, you take a look at it. You take a look at Detroit. In fact, they
look at him. He's continuing to use Detroit, Philadelphia, like Milwaukee. Yeah.
So you take a look at it. You know the real truth, Steve. And
you see, he continues to use like Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, those cities that have very large black populations. So, seeing it from my perspective, he can say like this is race baiting. But the thing is, like his MAGA doesn't seem like it really was election fraud going on in those cities. Da 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 da. Like he's using the whole Tammy Hall. It's like Tammany Hall type thing. What she's bringing up.
Why is it that you think that the vast majority of your allies in the United States Senate are not standing behind you? We did have that statement by Mike Rounds.
Because Mitch McConnell is a loser.
Oh man, he plays the victim
like you've never seen before. He would have been fighting this because when you look at it, and this is a long way from over. You take a look at what's going on now in Pennsylvania. Take a look at what's going on in Wisconsin. You just take a look. Now, we had a lot of cases where the judges wouldn't hear them. We had a case in Nevada that was so good. When you read the papers,
I'm gonna say this: like Lynn Wood provided a lot of like these post-election cases, and like the Sidney Powell. Every single one of those cases got rejected. Just letting y'all know.
They refused to even listen to it. We had many cases. In fact, they say, and I can't testify because it's been
this
through
is
a lot
hilarious,
of systems,
man. This dude's
slowly
trying to gaslight.
The judges just nobody's really gotten a chance to look at the United States Supreme Court. They refused to hear the case. And you had,
they said there was no standing to give the case. That's correct.
Well,
Can I just ask?
No standing. I know. No standing. And the President of the United States supposedly didn't have standing either. So I wanted to file it myself. They said, sir, you don't have standing. I said, wait a minute. I'm the President of the United States. They just rigged an election.
Oh, my. He's still stuck on this. He's still stuck on 2020. Seriously. You guys want this guy to run for your party in 2024 when Joe Biden's approval rating is worse than his. He's stuck on 2024. I don't understand this.
Nobody believes. You think Biden got 80 million votes? I don't believe it.
It's true that you got more than any sitting president in the election that disputed.
How come he couldn't?
If I can, Mr. President.
Let me ask you this question. How come Biden couldn't attract 20 people for
Is he talking on crowd numbers? Oh, my goodness.
Nobody came to watch, but all of a sudden, he got 80 million votes. Nobody believes that.
If you'll forgive me, maybe because the election was about you. If I can just move on to ask, are you telling Republicans in 2022 that they must press your case on the past election in order to get your endorsement? Is that an absolute?
They're going to do whatever they want to do. Whatever they have to do, they're going to do. But the ones that are smart, the ones that
this guy.
Again, you take a look at how Carrie Lake is doing, running for governor. She's very big on this issue. She's leading by a lot. People have no idea how big this issue is, and they don't want it to happen again. It shouldn't be allowed to happen, and they don't want it to happen again. And the only way it's not going to happen again is you have to solve the problem of the presidential rigged election of 2020.
This ain't even good.
One more question. I want to ask about a court hearing yesterday on January 6th. Judge Amit Mehta, he's gone. Okay.
That's how fast he took off. Oh, man. Trump is like, oh, man. He's totally trying to gaslight that the election was still rigged despite all the evidence and despite, like, his lawyers getting rejected by court so many times. And then here's a one-on-one interview on Newsmax that I've got from Anna Melly's feed. Like, I recommend seeing Anna Melly on YouTube because he's a vaccine skeptic, but he's consistent about it. He's not a Trump shill. He's not a Trump hack. And he completely turned on Trump over the support of vaccines. Take a look.
Do you reconsider your push for it, or what's your view now on the vaccine in general?
Well, I've taken it. I've had the booster. Many politicians, I watched a couple of politicians be interviewed, and one of the questions was, did you get the booster? Because they had the vaccine. And they're answering it like, in other words, the answer is yes, but they don't want to say it. Because they're gutless. You got to say it. Whether you had it or not, say it. But the fact is that I think the vaccine has saved tens of millions of people throughout the world. I have had absolutely no side effects. I've had it like other people have had it. Nothing special. I've had it.
Shots fired. He's calling out governors like DeSantis and I think Nome, and I'm thinking Greg Abbott too. But yeah, that is a really big shot fired. And it's a really big shot towards Trump's the anti-vax base that latched on to Trump because like he was against the mandates. Well, he's pro-vaccine, unlike whatever image you thought of Trump in your mind. Trump is a pro-vaccine guy. Like he considers vaccines as a part of his identity, which I'm trying to point out to the Saudi army, but they're still stuck on like, man, you're a CNN puppet. These people, they're idiots. But folks like Anna Melly, who keep it real on Trump, well, pointed out how much of a clown he's been, speaking both sides of his mouth on the vaccine issue. He really has. He's spoken both sides. He speaks to both sides of his mouth all the time, and it seems like his base or like his loyal base is still slow to catch on. And then he completely contradicted himself in 2015. And as some former Trumpers say, LOL, the world's greatest Trojan horse. Do you get it yet, guys? Dre says again, yeah, still with the paranoia. It's not his booster at this point. First dose, he be selling boosters now. He's trying to say, here he is trying to be honest. We got it. It's none of your business. That's just an anti-vax label. That much is clear. It's good to let the vaccine and dance around the question. Yeah. Oh, see, look, there's still Trump still got his TDS, folks, man. It's Trump devotion. It's Trump devotion, people. He has lost touch who got him elected. Duh. Exactly. He used you. He thought Trump cared about you. He called you like cheap and poor when he saw the Q shaman and saw those Q nuts in the White House. I mean, he was mad because they made him look bad. But yeah, I got the TDS. No, y'all got the TDS. You got the Trump devotion syndrome. And then this guy like just trying to make a conspiracy like he sent up DeSantis to win. See, I mean, folks like this on the right always trying to make like some weird conspiracy angle about something when a lot of the time it's right in front of your face. What do you say about man? He's definitely not vocal. He is definitely supported by his actions right now. Why would I like? I mean, that's what important. See, these dudes are clowns. Now they're trying to like move it to the vaccine mandate because they got TDS. They're so devoted on Trump. They're not going to reject anything he's. I mean, where is the principle yet? I mean, even on the anti-vax principle, he's against it. Yet they're still devoting themselves to him. And he said like no side effects, which contradicts their point. Like, oh, it's gene therapy. He just has too much fraud. See, they're still stuck on what Trump's the greatest president of all time. There's one former Trumper. This dude has lost my vote. See, there's one that stays consistently anti-vax. I give him that. And there's one that says Orange Man needs to shut up and go away. That's the way I feel about him at this point. Because he's speaking on both sides of his mouth, and like, what is he really doing for the right? He's a liability. I mean, if you guys really think about it, Trump is a liability to the right because he energizes the opposition more than his base. That's the thing about Trump. Like, he'll get like his loyal crowd, but he'll bring in a bigger crowd to vote against him. Like the host of NPR said. Steve, like the host Steve, I'm an idiot. Like Steve Inskeep said, like Trump lost because of him. Biden didn't win, Trump lost. And Biden stayed in his basement, and all Biden had to do was stay in his basement because Trump just kept hanging himself over his stupidity, over his speaking both sides of his mouth. I mean, saying like disinfectant, saying disinfectant was a good idea for COVID, and some of his supporters took his words to heart and died from it. But then he said like the disinfectant was about the sun radiation, but He spoke out of both sides of his mouth like he always does. And then the whole Proud Boys stand back and stand by. And the Proud Boys really took that seriously, like, oh, Trump is with us. Yes. We'll stand back, Trump. We'll stand back, Trump. And then after January 6th, we didn't pardon any of them. Like, oh, F Trump, man. We had his loyalty. We didn't question it. I talk about Rufio Pan, man. I've been loyal to Trump, and I didn't question it. And this is Cassandra Fairbanks. He's learned nothing and continues to be a terrible judge of character. And he's saying Elsie Stefanik could be president in 2028. Me, personally, if I'm on the right or I'm anti-woke, you guys gotta dump Trump. I mean, DeSantis is just basically Trump, but younger. It's basically Trump, but younger, and it can actually get the policy you want passed, but you guys are still stuck on this loser from 2020. I just don't understand the logic. I really don't. So give me a like if you feel this video, a dislike if you don't feel this video, and please subscribe.